Hello guys and welcome to a new video and welcome to a new Q&A episode. In case you're new here, these are once a month videos where I do an Instagram story where I ask you guys to ask me questions and then I try to answer them on a video to the best of my abilities. I really like doing these videos because usually we get a lot of interaction going on and I like to interact with you guys. Okay, so the questions are actually getting better and better, so it's really hard for me to just choose a few questions to answer on the videos. And that's awesome, but there's a lot of questions that are just going to be left out. So if your question didn't make it to this month's video, just keep your eyes peeled and make sure you submit one for the next video. And if you want to submit a question, make sure you follow me on Instagram, link in the description down below. Okay guys, so there's a lot of really good questions, so let's get started. Oh, and before I forget, for all of you guys that are members of the channel, you guys are actually going to be able to submit video questions if you guys want to. It's not mandatory because I know that a lot of you guys don't want to show your faces. But I think it's going to be a really cool twist and a nice addition to the channel as well. And if that sounds like something you would really like to do and you're not a member of the channel yet, all you gotta do is just hit that join button down there and man up. Okay, so now let's get started. Slant cab or straight? I really prefer the slant cabinet live, but I like the straight cabinet for studio use. There's something about it, I just think it sounds a little bit better, and also it's easier to put the microphones in front of all four speakers. But the slant cabinet, because of the slant, it really hits your ear a lot better when you're on stage. And it feels like it cuts better through the mix, if you ask me, anyway. 6-string or 7-string? Definitely 6-string, like a man. No 7 strings for Pat. Over the years, I've actually owned over 200 guitars, and I don't think I've ever owned a 7-string guitar. I do, however, like the 5-string basses. Personally, I don't really find a use for a 7-string, it just gets in the way. I don't really like the wide necks anyway, and if I need to tune down to B, I can always do that with a 6-string anyway. And I really don't find use for lower tunings than that. Now don't get me wrong, I actually like bands that tune lower than that, like Nile, but that's just not for me. American or British amplifiers? Yes, all of the above. I mean really, I like them both. They're very different and they all have different purposes. I guess if I really had to answer, I would go with the British amplifiers because they have more of a classic sound and you can always overdrive that even harder. American amplifiers are really good for modern sounds, but they don't really sound as good for clean. Unless you're playing a Fender or a Roland Jazz Chorus, but good luck getting really good distortion out of that. So yeah, I guess I would have to go with British. Vox, Hiwatt, not a big fan of Marshall, but I do like a couple of their amplifiers. How do you go about writing all of the parts, I guess, to a song? What do you start with, etc. Cheers. Cheers, Jeff. Well, here's the thing. Usually my songs come out of one riff, maybe one idea. Sometimes I'm just listening to a song and I really like a riff and it gives me an idea and I base that new idea off of that riff, but with a twist or with something different. And most times it evolves so much that it has nothing to do with the original riff that I had listened to or even thought about. Then after that, I figure out what scale that song is in and I try to make more riffs or more variants of that same riff so that they fit together. And a lot of times I just make up a lot of different riffs and then I try to combine them, try to find a bridge or some way to connect them so that they sound good together. Sometimes the riff is just on a different key so then I have to transpose it. Sometimes I do a model change so that it works on that new key. But yeah, I guess it just kind of happens. Now, because of the fact that I actually graduated in music production, sometimes I feel like, I need a bridge or I need another solo or the solo doesn't really work or I need an intro or something just doesn't quite fit. But basically, I just let the song evolve as it wants to. Sometimes I write a whole song in like a month, sometimes it'll take me a year. So I try not to force them. But what I do make sure that I do is that I try to record the riff and if I can, record a video as well of me playing it. Because you won't believe the amount of riffs I've forgotten over the years. Pat, what are your current biggest challenges to attain your goals and what's your approach for success? My biggest challenges right now are for you guys to watch the entirety of the videos so that the YouTube algorithm thinks that my videos are actually kind of cool and wants to show it to people that are not subscribed to my channel yet. Another big challenge is to get subscribers or followers to actually join the channel. So what's my approach? Well, for starters, I'm trying to make shorter videos so that I can hang on to your attention span as much as I can. Also, I am trying to be more interactive and I am trying to be a little bit more energetic so that you guys don't get bored on me and click off. And as far as the memberships go, I am just trying to put out better content so that you guys can start to appreciate all the work that I put into and maybe try to help the channel grow. Also, I set up monthly goals that are very achievable as far as members, so that I can push myself extra hard to try to reach out to you guys and make you guys become members. I mean, my goals are to get 5 new members every month. That shouldn't be too hard, or so you would think. But I wasn't able to reach that goal last month. But I just gotta keep pushing. How do I get my band tighter? I definitely recommend playing to a metronome, a lot of homework. Don't only play the songs when you're with the band. Practice on your own as well. Try to record yourself so you can listen to it later on and see what you need to work on more. And definitely try to slow down the songs and work yourself up to speed. I am asking for the last time, will you please let me out of the basement? No! What kind of gear do you use on stage? Oof, that's a good question. I guess it really depends on what band I'm playing with. I mean, if I'm playing with Excelsis Tenebrae, I do have a rig, and then if I'm playing as a session musician, I do have a different rig based on whatever band that is that I'm playing with. But right now, my rig is based on simplicity. As you can probably tell, I have a lot of amplifiers. I have a triple rectifier, a Vox AC30, I've had a 5150 and I'm planning on getting a new one, and a lot more amplifiers. But right now, believe it or not, I'm using my Line 6 head. It's a Spider Valve HD100 Mark 1, or just HD100. The original version. I changed the tubes on that thing, and when that thing is going through the right cab, it just sounds amazing. It's got plenty of distortion, it's got a built-in tuner, it's got built-in effects. And I mean, I don't really use a lot of effects, but I do need a TS9 and delay and maybe some reverb for the solos and stuff like that. And that head's got everything I need. Also, a lot of times when you're moving stuff around, people can just go and play with your knobs and stuff like that, play with your pedals, and the more things that you take on stage, the more things that can actually get stolen or break. So I like to keep it simple. So all I use is my guitar, a wireless system that goes straight into that, and lately I'm just going straight out to the board, so that I can just push A and it's got all my save settings, and I'm just going to put out the same sound at any rig. And if anybody wants to go on stage and mess with my knobs, like a lot of sound engineers do when you're playing live, I can just go and hit A again and it'll revert everything back to my original settings. So yeah, I love that amp. Okay, and the last question for today, when did you start doing vocals, and will there be a video on how to do vocals? Okay, so I started doing vocals in 2004 because the band really needed a vocalist and we couldn't really find one that fit the bill. We wanted somebody that was into death metal, that was passionate, that was dedicated, that was punctual, and most of all, somebody that was serious about it. And because of the fact that I wrote all the lyrics and we couldn't really find somebody, I decided to try it out. And in the beginning, the vocals actually sounded a lot different than what they sound like today. They actually sounded a lot more like Obituary's vocals. But since I didn't have any vocal training or any technique or anything like that, I could really sing for like 30, maybe 40-minute stops, and the next day my throat would actually be very hoarse. It was really uncomfortable and it would hurt. So after a while I decided this is not getting any better. Maybe I gotta switch it up a bit. So I started trying out new techniques. And one day it just kind of clicked. I found my vocal placement. It's hard to explain, but it's like back here and a lot of chest. And we just thought it sounded really good. So we tried it out live and people really responded to it. And one of them actually gave us a tape, because back then you would record video on tape. And we watched it a couple of days later and we were like, whoa, where did that voice come from? And we decided we got a vocalist. Will I do any videos about that? Probably not. I don't really think that I am qualified enough to actually teach vocals. And your voice is a really delicate instrument. I really don't want to be responsible for messing your throat up. If you want to check out a good video though, that I know helped a lot of people, check out The Zen of Screaming by Melissa Cross. I know a lot of people that have actually learned and perfected their vocal technique by watching those DVDs. So check that out and let me know what you think, and good luck with that. Okay guys, so I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for submitting such awesome questions. I had to leave a lot of them out, but let's be serious. I don't think you guys want to watch a 35-minute Q&A session video. Okay, anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please drop me a like if you did. Drop me a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel like your man if you haven't yet. And if you guys want to become a part of the team and you want to help me reach my monthly goal, man up and hit that join button down there. I will see you guys next time. Pat out. Metal on, dudes.